there are times in which I just want to sneer at the system that we live in. And my seat has gone down again. Let's take a look at this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful article that I just need to punch a hole through. And I'm not going to look at the video down there. Let's see here. Lawsuit. Pennsylvania church worker stole $340,000 from fund for poor. 66-year-old Sharon Ronick was the office manager of the church's charitable donations fund. Worker embezzlement schemes are at a 5-year high at a Boston-based security firm, Marquette International's latest count, as AOL Jobs has reported. Indeed, 2012 saw the uncovering of 538 instances of employee fraud worth more than $100,000. Many schemes that began at the beginning of the financial crisis are only now coming to light, but amidst such rampant employee theft, some cases still stand out for their shocking nature. Take for instance, the charge being levied against 66-year-old Sharon Ronick, a resident of Lackawanna County in northeastern Pennsylvania. Ronick worked for 27 years at the Diocese of Scranton, and over time, even though I mess up that name, you know how to pronounce it. And over time, she's alleged to have stolen at least $340,000 from the church's charitable donations fund, the money which is handed over to a variety of causes for the poor. Ronick held the title of the office manager at the Church's Society for the Propagation of the Faith, and so opened the mail and handed the checks that were sent to the office. She is said to have used the money to pay the monthly charges on Discover credit card with clockwork regularity, in the words of Pennsylvania-based newspaper Citizen's Voice. On Thursday, Warnick surrendered at the Lackawanna courthouse and was charged with 1 count each of theft by unlawful taking and receiving stolen property. It's a quote-unquote sad reality that there will always be individuals who seek to exploit and circumvent whatever system that is in place, end quote. Scranton Bishop Joseph D. Bambera said in a statement, Ronick's bounty may in fact be greater than $340,000. The statute of limitations on the theft only covers the last 7 years. Officials estimate the amount stolen before 2006 to be around $80,000. How did the fraud get uncovered? In August, an official with the diocese noticed a check for $6,000 was made out to a credit card the diocese had no awareness of. The investigation soon made to the DA's office, which discovered 83 mysterious payments dating back to February 2006, as was reported by local television outlet WNEP. And the Discover card was allegedly under Warnick's name and address, according to the court affidavit. Why would she have done it? Warnick was suspended without pay on August 21st by the church, and on September 6th, she was fired. She's hired William Peters of nearby Clark Summit as her lawyer. Told AOL Jobs no comment was being made to the press, as he still had to review the evidence. Ronick is currently free on $25,000 bail. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for November 20th, as Fox News reported. Who's more likely to commit fraud in the workplace? As remarkable as an allegation may be of stealing something from a fund devoted to helping the poor, the fact that a woman is being accused is not. According to the Marquette report, nearly 2 out of 3 alleged embezzlers last year were female. Why might that be? It seems women simply tend to have greater access to steal money, as they are more likely to occupy bookkeeping positions that have access to the coffers, as Chris Marquette, CEO of Marquette International, previously told AOL Jobs. And according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, 90% of the bookkeepers in the country were women in 2010, the last year for which information is available. Should it come to no surprise that a religious organization was hit. 1 out of every 8 schemes revealed that was a non-profit or religious organization. According to Marquette's reporting, such institutions are possibly vulnerable because they have very weak control systems. Marquette also told AOL Jobs they're not operating on big budgets that allow them to spend money on accountants, he said. Well, I might as well share my thoughts about this. When you work for something like a private organization, churches are considered a private organization. It's public for worship, but as far as everything else goes within the offices, and this is out of personal opinion. Churches more than likely have a weak system because they have certain people that are doing this and this and this and this. I mean, it can happen, and it usually does. The reason why it happens is because you got tithes and offerings. Say, for instance, you go to a church that has about probably like $500,000. Like, there are certain organizations like Joel Osteen or Kenneth Copeland or maybe even Creflo Dollar. And they have all these different organizations are running. And usually, what I feel they don't do is they don't properly scan or screen these people that want to have a job. I mean, they probably let some. I mean, it's true that there's some churches out there that need help, but at the same time, you had to scan them. You had to basically screen them. I mean, I would never steal from my own church just because I have these. How should I say this? I don't steal from my own church just because of something like this. A credit card. So personally, I don't use credit cards. I use a debit card. I use a debit card to pay for what I need, namely like games or printer ink, paper, that sort of thing. Because let me tell you something. when you have an organization like that deals to the public trust, you cannot mess with that, because that you're basically putting your word bond as a person in jeopardy. The little stuff that you do will cause some kind of impact. And when that impact happens, then if it's for good or ill, it's going to have impact. I mean, I used to be a teacher at the church I went to. I stopped because there was no. I mean, I was treated bad there. I put in my time. I put in my hours. I didn't ask for pay, even though it would have been nice to get something like a bit of compensation. A bit of compensation for what I've been doing. I mean, it's there. Because, I'm the type of guy that really doesn't mind helping. But as long as the help is appreciated, I get something out of it because I did spend some time for it. That's how it is with me. I appreciate compensation for what I do. I appreciate having some compensation for what I do. I don't mean, I'm not saying money, but money would be nice. I mean, whether I'm being taken out to lunch and I don't have to go in my pocket and say, let me pay for it. No. Allow me to pay for it because you've been such a great help. Something special. You know what I mean? That in itself, hey, it works for me. I don't mind. I say, this is out of appreciation for what you do, that sort of thing. But, again, when you do something like this, like this story, you have basically put your personal self out there. You put your trust at stake. And when you put your trust at stake and you do something like, I'm just going to take a little off the top, and nobody isn't going to notice this, people will know. People will know because they will watch you like a hawk. But considering how, I mean, there's some bad to it too. I mean, the bad of this is considering what the country has been through. We've been through a bad run of economy. The job market is struggling. People are trying to get jobs. They're trying to work for a little bit of some cash. If not much, just a little bit. But still, they work their damnedest just to get a little something in their pocket. And sadly, not everyone Not everyone have pure intent when they work at a public organization or a public private organization like a church or whatever. And they have to take it for themselves because, they have to scrape off the top. Why they do it? Because mainly, instead of asking, they have to do it like a thief in the night. And sadly, they honestly think, okay, once they pay this off, there won't be any problems. But there will be problems because unsolved problems lead to even worse problems. Because then you have to explain yourself about why is this happening? Why about this and why about that? It's just a terrible cycle. And let me close that out. Let me just close that tab out. Okay. There we go. And like I said, it's one thing that you should do is like just be up front and honest. If you're not an honest person, well, still, you can try to say you do your best. That's basically all you have to do in this day and age. You have to do your best. You have to show that you're trustworthy. Especially in something like that. Especially in an organization that involves trust. Because once you lose that trust, it is hard for you to gain it back. Because you now have a bad reputation. Your good image has been tainted by something so small. It's like a dot that cannot be cleaned off. And as much as you're trying to clean it, it's still there and it's going to remain. So sadly, yes, that comes at a cost. But I really can't say much more than that. So I leave this question up to you. You be the judge. What do you think about this article? If you do have any sort of personal feedback about this or anything of the sort, please leave comments and, well, I'd like to hear what you think. So I think this will do with the news for possibly this week. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I shall see you soon with more game videos, more House of Dead coming up later. More than likely it'll be finished by then, and who knows, maybe I might do House of Dead 3 afterwards. Or whatever else I feel like doing. In any case, take care, guys, and I'll see you later.